Hello, everyone. This is Bina Bendale, and welcome to Entrepreneurial Talk Show. I am so pleased to have the amazing queen in the house, Esther Alley. I've been following Esther for a little while. I don't think she knows this or not, but I've been following you for about 2 years. A little secret of mine, I'm going to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
And I have been blown away by your confidence. For me, I want to be like that. And the stars aligned that I finally got to meet you in person. And we just were instant best friends ever since.
Yes.
And it was this connection call. It was that soul to soul connection where it was one look me and you both had. And we were like, yep, thought the same thing, felt the same thing. Energetically, we were just like, we were inseparable after that the whole time.
Yes.
And that's the amazing part. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself, because Esther is a powerhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching, she is a true powerhouse. She is able to talk to things and feed into stuff that it's amazing. But one thing I want to say, and I want to give you acknowledgement for, is that you are a true queen. You are a legend. You are what a lot of women would want to be, and having that confidence, that praise, that stance, you're in essence of it. So I want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you.
Tell me, Esther, who are you and what the world can know about you? This conversation is very raw, ladies. This one can go in different ways. Not sure where we're going to go just yet.
Bina, you have just, wow. Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you for the recognition. My name is Esther Jones Alley. I am a spiritual architect and a conscious living coach. I am here on this planet, in this incarnation, to wake up as many light beings and light workers as possible. If I'm not living my purpose, I have no reason to be here. We all have a purpose. Are we willing to remember who and what we are as divine beings? You talk about confidence. Yeah, there's a certain confidence that I have, but I also have the courage to stand in my truth. I also have the courage to claim my power. We are all powerful beings. It's just a matter of whether we're willing to claim it. I am no different than any other woman or man out there. We all were created as expressions of the divine, the point at which the universe experiences itself. But we've forgotten. We've gotten caught up in the madness of this world and got distracted and indoctrinated into thinking that we're helpless.
Yeah.
We just have to be.
That's beautifully said. So for the women out there, or men that are out there, what advice would you give them on how to be confident? Because it's who you are. And I think maybe I should rephrase it of stating, how do you help other women and men be self-aware of who they are and self-acceptance of who they are?
The first step, let me tell you the first step, which most people assume that is real and it's not.
Yeah.
Loving yourself until you can truly learn to embrace who you are completely, no matter what you look like, no matter, love yourself. That is the first step. When you learn to love yourself, what other people think about you, it's none of your business. It's their issue. When you learn to love yourself, you allow people to think and do what they want, but it's not your business. It has nothing to do with you. It's their issue, and they need to resolve that issue over there. That gives you a certain confidence because it's not for you.
Right.
You know, people are going to have their opinion. Oh, she's this and oh, she's that. Cool. You deal with that because I don't have to. I'm going to keep being me. You understand? That's loving yourself. And when you love yourself, when you truly love yourself, where you can be by yourself. I was talking to a client today. She was like, I don't know how to be. Yeah, all your life, someone had to give you approval for you to feel good about yourself. And when that approval is gone, then you fall apart. No. Love yourself. Take the time to understand and know who and what you are as a divine being. You are a powerful being. We have gifts and powers that we don't recognize because we're so busy looking outside of ourselves. But learn to love yourself. Your truth is your truth. and understand when you truly love yourself, you don't have all of those issues about whether you need a man or I got to have this. A lot of people talk about, oh, the pandemic was hard when girl, I was having a time of my life. I didn't have to be bothered with nobody. I could be by myself. I could be with me. And that was new for me to be able to be with myself and enjoy Esther. I come from a family of 10. I'm 7 to 10, and there was always people around. Got married, had kids, always people around. I didn't know what it meant to be alone. I had to learn how to love myself to the point where I value my alone time, my downtime. And now that's vacation for me. We don't have to deal with nobody else.
So what I'm hearing you say is just learning how to sit in your own body in the quiet.
Boom.
And
And be.
I call it the power of pause, where I really coach around is the power
Love
of
it.
pause. And so what I'm hearing you say, and this is hard for a lot of people, and this is where self-love comes in, the self-confidence comes in. This is where a lot of these things stem from, because if you were in a house by yourself, this is still a practice even for me, and it's super quiet. I got 3 little kids at home, and it's super quiet. Are you able to stay in full silence without letting your thoughts and things wander? Because when they start wondering and comes up, I'm not saying that you don't love yourself, but that's when a lot of your brain is going to go towards the negative side, or what am I doing? Why am I standing here? I give a challenge to a lot of my clients that be fully present, be fully in things, and scream, shout, dance, take a bath, do something that you're just fully immersed in just you.
Mhm.
And they're just like, I don't know if I can do that. That seems really difficult. I said, because if you can't control your own clutter in your mind, what makes you think you can control the clutter of other people's mind?
See, I was just talking to another client about
Choice.
the superpower that we all have. When you have a thought, I call that the point of decision. Am I going to go with that thought or choose something else? Let me give you an example. You wake up, your back is hurting. The thought is, oh, my back is hurting. Or you could say, oh, my back is hurting. Back, what is it that you need to make you feel better? See the difference in the choice? Let me find an Advil or a Tylenol. Or you could say, let me scan my body. What do you need to feel better?
Right.
Do I need to stretch? What do I need this morning to bring you back into homeostasis? You see the difference in the choice? But it's at the point that the thought presents itself. People
Yeah.
believe that they are their thoughts, but they're not. We must become observers of the thoughts and choose which thought we want to go with and
Right.
what do we want to create. That's how we create what's showing up in our world. But most people are creating unconsciously, haphazardly, and stuff is showing up. And they're like, why does this keep showing up? Because you keep creating it.
The universe
They-
is telling you something, you're not listening.
Listen,
Yeah.
your higher self is saying, pay attention to what thoughts
Yeah.
you're latching on to, what thoughts you're choosing to create from.
Yeah.
When you say, take a pause, the pause needs to happen at the beginning of that thought.
Yeah.
Am
The
I going
power of
to
the pause.
this thought or am I going the power of choice and the power of decision? Because you're at a decision point when that thought shows up.
Absolutely.
And the more that you can become the observer of these thoughts, the more you can make choices and decisions for yourself rather than against yourself.
Right.
Because most people are running around making decisions against themselves and don't even know it.
Right.
And they
It's
think
going by the
that's
social norm. So I want people to understand what we're talking about here. I am a big believer in the thought model, thought choices that comes up with the conscious mind, unconscious mind of what we are doing. But for some people, this may be jargon that they're just like, I'm not knowing what Bina and Esther are talking about, which is understandable. Can you explain or slow down the process of what does it mean for a choice for you and a choice against you? Because I think people might not understand that.
let me be very clear. When you're in the present, that's where we can create consciously, not manifest, create. When you choose the thought, this is what I'm going to create, and it's beneficial for your flow, for what you're trying to produce and how you're trying to show up. That's a choice for yourself. You're choosing you. You're choosing something that's going to benefit you and the world as a whole.
Mm.
But when you're unconscious and you have all this clutter and chatter and all that stuff, you're just going with whatever thought comes, then you end up making decisions against yourself. And what
Right.
that means is stuff shows up in your life that you don't want. But what you don't understand about that is no one sent it to you. You created it unconsciously because you weren't clear in what it was that you desired,
Yeah. It goes back to the clarity.
because you were not conscious. When we're born, we're like a brand new computer. There's nothing happening. But we begin to learn the first 7 years, a child is picking up information so fast, but they're creating programs that helps them to figure out the world and their environment. As you grow, you continue to create programs, not because someone's telling you, but because you're watching and learning very fast. So what happens is your subconscious mind knows how to operate this body. So when you're in your head thinking about all kind of, you got all this clutter going, your subconscious mind is still running everything, your heartbeat, your breath. You could be driving and you'll get to your destination and wonder, how did I get here? I don't even remember getting here. But your subconscious mind knows how to get you where you need to go. Do you understand?
I understand this.
The only time that you can really consciously make a choice is when you're in the present moment. That's what being means. It's to be in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future, but right here. What's happening right here? That's that pause you're talking about. When you take that pause and you come present, that's when you create consciously. That's when you're creating and choosing yourself, because you're making decisions that are going to be beneficial to you and the world as a whole. Does
Yeah.
that clear
It
it up?
makes sense. You actually brought up something that I've stated before, but I want to reiterate. When you talked about going back to birth and childhood and all these things, when we're talking about choices and the power of being present, when a child is born, what is the first thing they do?
They
First
breathe.
conscious breath. But I
Right.
think when it comes up and then they cry, right? Because their lungs are filled. And then
And
the
they're like, oh,
first
shit.
emotion,
Okay. Okay.
the first true emotion that our body or our emotion, our core back to that, it's love. It goes back to that mother connection. I've said this once before, but I always go back to that analogy of breathe. It's okay to cry and learn to love. Because those are the three things you do when you're born.
And it's not even learning to love. They already know it, because we are at our very core love. That's
Correct.
what we are. But we've
Yeah.
been taught away from it.
Right.
And we've been taught these other derivatives of what love is, like transactional love and situational
Right.
love. But we are unconditional love. We are divine to our core. So when that child comes out, it can be nothing but love. But as it moves through its environment and it's learning and it's picking up things, and then the parent says, no, don't do that. No, stop. And that child begins to understand, okay, here's the program I got. All
It's
of
like
that.
watching Inside Out.
So,
I love that movie.
but innately, we are love.
Yeah.
And so we have to come back. We have to remember, because we forget that we are unconditional love.
Yeah.
I travel a lot. That was the one thing I learned when I went to India, that I was unconditional love. It was the first time in all of my life I felt that. It was so powerful. I could barely breathe because this energy was so powerful and it felt so blissful. I'm just walking around like I'm in heaven on earth, and I'm in India. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful. But I understood, I remembered, this is what we are.
Yeah.
Unconditional love. When you get that, when you understand that, when you remember, then you can love others, because then you're given from the overflow.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Most people are trying to give from a half empty cup. You don't love yourself and you trying to love somebody. Oh, come on, boo. And then it goes into all the sacrifice and the people please. But when you love yourself, you don't have to do nothing. Because not only do people feel that love, love comes to you.
Yeah.
It's like a unbroken cycle. You are shining with that love, and that love is coming back to you. It's the most beautiful thing. It is just, it's a beautiful thing, girl. It's beautiful. More people need to try this. It's real good.
You can
But
be yourself on these calls. This is the best part about these. It's just they're just the raw, honest truth about what it is. I want to circle back to what we were talking about with loving yourself and how we're talking about the confidence piece, right? I want to really go back to that conversation real quick. It's because you're very clear that love yourself, right? Oh,
I-
no, there's no questions. Like you have to love yourself in order to do anything. And that's where I find like those unlimiting beliefs and all these other clatter comes in because and it is self-taught, but it's also like it can be taught by others as well.
it's reinforced by others. It's
Right. It's
reinforced by the
reinforced.
collective.
Yeah.
The collective consciousness keeps it going.
Yeah.
Listen, it's like we're in a video game. Okay. Seriously, that's what this world is, like a video game.
Yeah.
You got to get through this journey or quest, and then you get to move to the next level. When you move to the next level, you look, oh, that was some crazy shit. Now, what are we going to do here? And when you get to that point of truly get to the point of self-love, and I cannot express this enough, and most people don't even know where to begin, how to begin. They can't. What do you mean I don't love myself? Of course I love myself. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't blah, blah. The point is, when you get to that point of self-love, you can look all of those limiting beliefs, all of the processes you create. People create a whole bunch of craziness in their life to make them feel alive, and you
Yeah.
don't need it.
Yeah.
Confidence goes hand in hand with loving oneself unapologetically. You don't have to apologize because you love yourself. Most people like, oh, because they teach us to be selfless. And that's fine. You can be selfless, but you must be unapologetically selfish first. And that's where people get confused. They think they got to take care of everybody else. But if you are not okay, ain't nobody okay. If you don't take care of yourself, baby, that body gonna let you know, boy, we finna take a break. We going into the hospital because you ain't took care of me. Apologetically selfish. Not in a narcissistic way, but
Right.
in a way that you're gonna take care of what you need so you can be the best that you are when you get out there to give somebody else something. Ain't nothing worse when somebody try to give you something that's all broke down, because they all broke down.
Yeah.
Give me your best. One of the most amazing examples to that is when you're on that plane and they say, if that oxygen drops down, what do they tell you? Put
Good job,
your
sir.
mask on first.
First.
Because you can't help nobody else if you can't fucking breathe. Come on now. But people don't get that. Do you need to be praised that much that you won't even take care of yourself? And that's what people do. You're not doing it because you're selfish. You're
No.
doing it because when you do that, people are going to say, wow, she's amazing. Look at how hard she's worked. Look at all that she's given. But you understand what I'm saying? I can't. I can't.
I hear you. And don't even get me started on a whole flight conversation because me and you can have a full-blown conversation about a flight. Let's go there real quick. Talking about those oxygen masks, and it's like from the 1980s. Like the shit needs to come up. Can we make that shit like that's not round?
Yeah, can you guys fix that shit? Okay. But the point is,
Yeah.
it's not the oxygen mask. It's the fact that they're telling you you can't help anyone else if you're not okay. If you don't take care of you, it ain't like this some knight on a white horse gonna come and take care of you. That ain't gonna happen.
This reminds me of a conversation. I had a realization. So I was flying to Chicago and I had this realization that came to me. And I was sitting in the emergency exit. A lot of the times in the emergency exit, I ain't gonna lie to nobody. Like it was just for people who have longer, like that needs room, which is great. And then some of them, I don't know if they'd be able to open the door if the emergency really were to come up. So I was having this conversation, and I don't know if you guys realize, but sometimes in some of the emergency exit rows, it's free alcohol. It's a priority boarding. It's a priority seat. So I was sitting there chit-chatting with the attendant as I had a drink. She goes, "Oh, ma'am, it's free." And I'm like, "You guys are gonna liquor me up? And then if there was a true emergency, you want me to open the door?"
That ain't happening. Because your drunk mind gonna tell you, don't open that door.
And then, oh my God, there were just people that I think may need assistance themselves sometimes, right? Sitting in these seats because they're more leg room. And I asked them, have you guys actually read the flight deck of what to do if this
Yeah.
door is open? This
Yeah.
gentleman, ma'am, don't worry about it. That will never happen. I'm like, you do realize what you said yes to, correct? Consciously, you do realize that if this plane was going to derail, the flight attendant was very clear that they're not going to help us. We got to walk in this little cord, walk out the flight, attach this little string, and then we got to come back to open the door. And I took a video. It was hilarious. And this again goes back to that conscious mind of being selfless or being selfish. Some of them are being really selfish. They're out there for themselves in that situation. We're going to have a real conversation here.
Yeah.
It's the truth, right? When you're putting yourself first, there's nothing wrong with that. But also, there has to be a time when you put that oxygen mask on. How can you support and do things for other people? That's another conversation. But my point is that if you're choosing seats, can we choose seats where you can really say yes to the job that comes with it?
But see, they're choosing those seats with an assumption
that nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah. So you recognize that, and it's okay. We better all hold this thought that nothing's gonna happen. Okay.
But I didn't know that, like, on some of the flights, because it's priority seating, like, you get free alcohol.
I know. I sit in when I don't do first class or business class. That's the seat I'll sit in. But
Don't let anybody. I do.
No, I don't drink. I need to have all my faculties intact. You know, everything needs to be.
I was conscious about it. Like, I now know, and it was funny because the gentleman next to me and the other two people all stood up and they were like, "You make a pretty valid point."
And they ask you, they want a verbal commitment that you can do this job.
Yes.
And then they come and liquor you up. But this is part of that video game I'm telling you. Are you going to take the liquor or are you not going to take this? If you take the liquor, you might not make it to the next level. You might go down with the plane. Okay?
I'm telling, oh my God. I was just like, it was a new awareness for me, right?
Yeah.
It really was, where I'm like, okay, not that I'm saying that I'm sitting here getting drunk on these airplanes. Don't get me wrong on that. But at the same time, it was more of, wow, I want to talk about the commitment behind it. I chose to sit in this seat with the commitment of, if this plane goes down, I better know what to do. They were very clear. Have you read the card? Did you do this? Yes, yes, verbal. People are listening. Devin Banison, I love him to death. He talks about flight attendant listening versus pilot listening. And they make you take your earplugs off. I know what to do. This flight attendant was being hilarious. She goes, "What do you do then if that door needs to open?" He goes, "Oh, let me take a reading. Hold on 1 second." And I'm like, we're going to die. We're going to die. But I think it goes back down to the reality of loving yourself enough to come up. Also, I think what I really want to come with this random derail conversation here, it's the level of commitment of what you're presenting out into the world.
Yes.
And I think that's where, like, you are very confident. You come across very confident. You comes in, but it's also because the love for yourself, but it's also because you're committed to what you say. What you say is what you commit to. But right.
The other thing is, it's not that I walk in this superior confidence. There are days that I have to get up and have some real serious conversations with Esther. And I have to tell Esther, no, boo, we're not doing it like that today. We're going to do it like this. Sit your behind down. You're not running things today. So it's not that you don't have days when you question, when you doubt, but it's not what's happening to you, it's how you respond to it. It's how you react to what's going on in your life. And one of the things for me, I know whatever at this point in time, whatever shows up in my life, I've called it in on some level to help me remember something. And so I always look at it, this is for my highest and best good. Let me just relax, because I know it's a situation that's going to help me remember even more of who and what I am as a divine being. This quest that we're on, and people call it a journey, but I just changed that word, because on a journey, it's a challenge and you struggle. On a quest, it's an adventure. It's intriguing. It's fun.
I like that, because it's true. Because it's like on a journey, like it's,
you're just, okay, what's going to be the next fifth? I'm on a quest. I'm going to have me some fun. It's an adventure. What's next? What am I going to create next? That's the difference. And I know that whatever shows up, even though I may not remember at that moment, my soul has called that in for me to help me remember and to help me continue to evolve to the higher frequencies.
Yeah.
And we all have that opportunity, all of us. And it's happening around the world. More and more people are awakening and saying, I could choose something. Oh, let me start using that. And they're enjoying the quest. They're evolving as spiritual beings. They are creating their world in a way that is beautiful, it's peaceful, it's enjoyable. They're pulling their tribe to them that are helping them to create their world more pleasant, more beautiful, less drama. We are all one. And the sooner that we really understand that concept, people will stop hurting one another. They'll stop competing. They'll stop trying to get over because you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You think you're doing it to someone that's separate for you, but that's you.
Yeah.
You see, the confidence come because I love myself. I know that I am connected to every being in this dimension. I am connected. I have no desire to hurt you physically, emotionally, mentally, or verbally, because
Right.
it hurts me. What you put out there in that world is coming back. It's coming back just like you put out. So if you're putting some bullshit out there, get ready for some bullshit in your life because it's coming back. If you put love out there, it's coming back. Period. So what is it that you want to experience? What is it that you want to show up in your world? How do you want your day to be? Someone ask me, how do you get up every day? I say, I get up every day. Thank you. I got another day to make something happen. I have another day to enjoy this beautiful world that we live in. I have another day to live on my purpose, to touch someone's life. Let's see what's going to show up today on this quest. Let's see what good stuff is going to come in. I get up every day like that. I choose to get up like that. It is. I'm excited. Whether I've slept 5 hours or 7 hours, whether it's 10 or 2, I am excited. I'm back in this dimension. Let's see what we can get going. Game the flip. Let's go. You see the difference?
It's a huge shift. It's beautiful. And I'm happy you said it the way you said it. That is going to empower so many people in that little segment that you just did. I have a mic. I wanted to do a mic drop. I'm like, yep, done.
It's funny because you and I were destined to meet. We were both in India, and it was just a brief encounter.
I remember you were standing next to Judy, and I can't find that photo. I know we have a photo. I'm going through them, and I swear, and maybe it's in my head. If I remember correctly, you were wearing something white.
A white suit.
Everyone thought that you were my hands of NZ.
I told them, no, I'm cuter. They said, okay, that's okay. You don't have to be her.
I thought that for a split second too. So I was like, oh, who's this fabulous lady? Yeah. It's like it's the right time, the right place, the right circumstance. People are placed in your lives for reasons. And there was a reason why I still remember you were in the front of the stage, right next to Judy, and you said next to Kai.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the craziest part is me and Kai are very good friends.
Yeah.
And the craziest part was I did not meet her in Mumbai either.
Wow.
Energetically, I didn't meet you. I didn't meet Kai. I saw Jamin Patel. And obviously from the people I came back with, Judy, and I did see Eric, but I don't know if he was there. The ones that I whisked next to, it was like a whirlwind. Those are the 5 people, honestly, to this day, who I speak with. I speak with Judy.
Yeah.
She's very loving.
I love her dearly.
Energetically, I knew I just had to meet you, and we did. Jamin Patel, who's one of my coaches. And I'm sure there's more. If I forgot anyone else, I love you all. Dave Horton is the other one, where we energetically met in Mumbai. Right. And then we were just like best friends after that. I spent a lot of time with Dave at the event. And then, of course, there's Carolina Hughes was at the event. Ranjan. It's insane how energetically, like little bits and pieces. I did not speak to you for a year and a half, and we met 2 weeks ago.
It was funny because you guys took the lady over there to play the game.
We knew your name. I was like, I know her. And me and Martha both were like, I forgot her name. And I'm like, looking, she's on the poster. Like, she's on the poster. Like, we know it. I can't remember that lady's name. Right. But this best part is when she walked in, she goes, oh, I'll ask her. I was like, you do you, girl. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
If she wasn't, I was gonna come up to you
right.
regardless. But that particular woman, I want to talk real quick about, because when she walked into that hotel or lobby
Yeah,
area,
right.
who she walked away from being after that, girl,
Mhm.
that was night and day for her.
Night and day.
Night and
Night.
her name, I could see her face.
Yeah.
Beautiful
I
soul.
can't remember her name either, but I watched the transformation. I watched the
And-
transformation.
And even with that moment, and that's what I want to talk about real quick before we have to jump out, is the power of connections. You have a presence around you that is a power of like connections. Either you repel them or they love you. There's black and white. I don't do gray either. I'm the same way.
No shades of gray.
And I think when people want to come up, it's like the best part about when you're in the power of connections is like that lady who came up to you. And this doesn't make sense for anyone else who was not at Transcendence. I just want to be honest. This won't make sense unless you're at one of these powerful events. Look, shout out to you, just because the Transcendence, it is a powerful place to be.
Right.
And it's that microclimate, it's those micro adjustments. And I am a big power of for anyone out there, it doesn't have to be Transcendence, it doesn't have to be Game Changer, it can be Supermom CEO. Community is where you're going to see that true butterfly effect.
That's it.
That cocoon comes
That's
up
it.
and comes in, and people, as an entrepreneur, if you guys want to know how to become successful, go to these places, go to these meetings, not because of going there for business, go there for the radical change for yourself. And
Well,
I
that's
really
where
want to
you
know that
see-
lady's name, because
That's
I
where
need
you
to figure
see
out my
the
call.
confidence and what it looks
Yes.
like. If you can experience something like that, then you can become that. And you see it in many different modalities at these places. There was a woman that didn't even know what transcendent was, but she came in the hotel and went over and
Tanya.
she's like, I don't know what y'all doing in there, but I need to be in that room.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call her, and I love her to death.
Yeah.
When someone asked me, they go, "Hey, Bina, she's brand new, can you introduce her?" Comes up. I'm like, wait, I know her already. Kid you not. And I'm gonna bring her, she's gonna come on, we're gonna have a conversation. And then when she got introduced to me, she says, I know you. She says, we've met before. And you talk about the energy, talk about the power of connections. I told her name is Danya. She's a blessing. And she's also an energetic healer, spiritual guidance. She does a lot of that in her life too. And
Well, she came up to me and introduced herself.
Yeah.
And after I did my I Am manifesto,
oh
and
yes,
she said, I've never heard a woman of color speak the way you spoke. I said, what do you mean? She said, you said something that really caught my attention. I said, what was it? She said, you said, I am that I am, and my name is Esther. I said, yeah. She said, I don't hear people like us talk that way. We ended up going to lunch. She said to me, I didn't know why I was meant to be in that room. She said, but I believe it was to meet you.
Yep.
Blew me away. We've communicated since then. We changed information and stuff.
I also believe, like, when I energetically, we were like,
When I looked at you, I knew this is me. I was like, she's just like me. I see you. And you recognize yourself in others as others recognize themselves in you. That's the beautiful thing about community. And yeah, sometimes there's a little tweaking you got to do, but be willing to stand and own who you are and know that you are duplicated out there as they are duplicating you. When you talk about confidence as women, I think women are what is needed now to bring back the heart of the earth. We went over a little with the feminists a little bit too far. You want to be feminine, but then you get in there, you want to act like the men. No, we have to stay with our heart. We have to stay with the loving. This is the connection to the universe, the feeling, the intuitive part of ourselves that speaks to love, not I want to be the big CEO.
and that's funny you say
They
that.
are not feminine.
Yes.
As confident as you see me, I'll be decking it out. I'll be like, yes, I know I'm a queen. Let me show you. When I show up in full regalia, there's no question about who I am and what I am, because I am, and I love being a woman. I love it. I don't want to be a man, but I always want to come from that point of love.
Yeah. That's actually one of the main reasons why I created Supermom CEO.
Mhm.
It's to love yourself, to find your energy, what works for you. Understand that you are your own being, and what you want to create is what you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why when I came up with this idea back in January of this year, that was where my whole vision was going, is to
Mm-hmm.
surround people with women like you. And then also women that are like, "Oh, I'm timid. I comes in, I'm not 100% sure." And then you walk out like a whole wardrobe change. The next thing you know, you're flamboyant and you're like,
It ain't even flamboyant.
not, but in a bad way. Not in a bad
Whatever
way.
you call it. It's when I dress and I feel good about how I
Right.
look,
That's what I mean.
I can
Yeah.
show up in
Right.
full
I met,
Esther mode.
there was another girl who was beautiful, and I want to mention her, Heather Lafond. Heather Lafond, energetically, again, when we were at this place, I kept going back to her. Craziest part is that when Heather walked into the room and we were talking, this bright light just came on her. And it was just a full presence of white. I didn't understand this, okay? Like I
That's
do
love.
some thing, but it was all love, grounded, angel wings, comes up. And then afterwards, I was like, I went up to her, it's the second day, and I was like, we need to have a conversation. Can we have a connection? And she goes, yeah, I love this. I just had a call with her 2 days ago.
Mhm.
She had her own moment. In this
Mhm.
moment, this shaman told her that she has these beautiful 6 foot wings on her. And I'm like, whoa, it's
That's
interesting.
what you
That's
thought.
that. That's what I saw. And it's just like the power of connection. I think sometimes we shut those down. Sometimes we come in. Sometimes like we don't understand why I connect to certain people or why it comes up. But what I really want people to understand is sometimes you don't need to understand why. You just need to go with the connection, and then figure out the pieces later. We were talking about being flamboyant in the sense of that change, that metamorphosis, where you
Mhm.
come in complete to every event, everyone comes in, metamorphosis. We go through this big old rampage, and you walk out with this beautiful butterfly. Every event does this. Everyone comes to every event
Ready to receive.
going to do it. But that's the power of connection. When you de-skin, just like a snake de-skins every so often, when you de-skin grief, different type of love, a different emotion shows up, you de-skin and you learn something new. We do this multiple times, not just one time in our lives. Like we complete over and over again.
That's the layers, that's the levels of the game. You
Yeah.
keep moving up, you have to de-skin. Leave all that
Yep.
shit behind. Now you're on another level. Go through that level, you de-skin, you go to the next level. You're evolving all the time,
Yes.
awakening all the time. And as you
Yes.
go to each level, you pick up another part of your innate gifts. You begin to understand how to see, not with your eye, but with your third eye. You begin to understand and
Yeah.
listen to your intuition. You begin to pay attention to what you're feeling, what you're sensing. You begin to recognize the color that people's auras, all these gifts start to just unfold as you
Yep.
descend and raise and go to each level of this game we're playing. Yeah, my confidence is a whole package. It's not just something I have, it's something that I am. And I always address it in a way that I want you to know this is possible for you too.
And I
Period.
want to, and that's where I want to end, because you can talk for hours on this. If you guys want to dive into this conversation more, I'm honestly just going to invite Esther into this conversation right here, right now. Maybe we can do a little webinar on this. I really think that when we talk about confidence, when we comes in, we're talking two different languages, but they're the exact same. It's like a love language that you come up. But I think when people look at me or look at you, they say, how is it that you're so confident to do this? Or how is it that you've now created a talk show? Right? I'm like, it's the power of being. It's the power of the level of what is the next level for me.
You take that fear and use it as turbo. Rather than having it paralyze you, you use it as turbo to push you through to the next thing that you're
Yeah.
seeking to create. And that's the beautiful thing. People need to understand all fear is a bunch of energy that has gathered to push you forward. And if you don't use it, it stays there and creates something that you don't want.
If you guys wanted to learn more about Esther, we will have all her information in the YouTube link when this gets released on YouTube. We'll have all the information there. If you guys want to get hold of her ahead of time, you can message me or Esther. It is really us in the chats, not a bot.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the gracious time.
Thank you for allowing me to share this time with you.
Mm.
I truly value you and you're a very special being. And I'm glad you're my friend.
Likewise. All
Thanks.
right, guys. Till next week. Bye.